Hello friends and welcome to the channel. My name is Amir and I'm a 5th year architecture student at the London School of Architecture, and in this video I'm going to talk about greenwashing. I'm going to explain what greenwashing actually means and why architects fall into the trap of greenwashing most of the time, and what are the possible ways that we can avoid falling into this trap. Together we're going to review a few controversial projects that can probably teach us some good lessons. What is greenwashing? In short, greenwashing is the act of misleading the public or the client regarding the environmental consequences of a company's product or services. In simple terms, greenwashing is when you tell your client or the public about how sustainable and environmentally friendly your product or services are, while in reality they just aren't. This term is not only used in the architecture domain but also in any other industry such as fashion industry, technology, food and so on. Why architects fall into this trap? As I said, architects tend to fall into this greenwashing trap most of the time, and the main reason for this is lack of education. We have very recently realized that the construction industry is responsible for almost 40% of global carbon emissions, which is just insane. And the whole architecture industry shifted from the contest of designing the tallest building in the world to designing the most green building in the world, which in that sense is generally a good thing. But we just aren't equipped with the knowledge to do this properly. This contest has eventually led to a new trend in architecture visualization, where the building with the most greenery on it looks more sustainable and environmental friendly, and therefore gets more attention in the media and among the general public. Now let's talk about how a world-renowned architecture practice like MVRDV also fell into this trap. MVRDV's controversial Hyde Mound project convinced the general public that they were going to get this, while the building ended up looking like this. And these things come with a huge cost, and they aren't like something that you buy from Amazon and it doesn't look anything like the advertised picture and then you return them. In this case, the Hyde Mound project costed the Westminster Council £6 million, which is basically public money. The entrance to the Mound was not even free in the beginning. People had to pay a fee of £4.50 to £8 to enter the Mound. Now, to be frank, the only reason I see someone to pay for this is probably because they wanted to lose some weight while climbing the stairs to get some nice views from the 25 meters above the Marble Arch. Well, it's not even that nice apparently. Now let's talk about what actually went wrong in this project. I came across two great articles in Architizer written by Tian Wang and Pro Landscaper magazine by Gemma Lloyd, highlighting some of the reasons behind the failure of the project. In the first article, Daryl Moore, who is the director at Cityscapes, told Gemma that the lack of understanding of plans was the main reason behind project's failure. MVRDV defended themselves, saying that the plans required more time under London's unexpected dry weather. But actually, Tony Wood, who is an expert, said that the actual plans in the Mound structure would take at least between 5 to 10 years to look like the renders, while the project was intended to be up for less than a year. This is a great lesson for us to realize how important collaboration is, and a great reminder that architecture relies on the collaboration among an entire team of experts. And when I say experts, I mean experts in all those other fields which the project needs support with. Sometimes architects only see the project from a designer's perspective and need other consultants to see it from their point of view. For example, Thomas Heatherwick's 1000 Trees project in China can really demonstrate how architects can fall into the greenwashing trap by only considering the design aspects of the project rather than seeing it from a sustainable point of view. In this project, there are 1000 trees planted on top of concrete planters of the building, which is a shopping center, aiming to humanize the project and add environmental benefits according to Heatherwick. Obviously, as a designer point of view, having 1000 trees on top of your building can create really interesting aesthetics, and the rooftop can become a very poetic type of space, as the renders show us when the trees are blooming, and all that can convince you that the building is very sustainable, as the 1000 trees absorb a massive amount of carbon dioxide from the air. But here is another side of the story. In an article published in The Zine, Philip Oldfield explains how each of these planters contain around 14 tons of reinforced concrete. And if 1 kilogram of concrete releases 0.1 kilograms of carbon dioxide in its production, it means that any single planter would have an embodied carbon of 1,554 kilograms of carbon dioxide. This basically means that it takes around 155 years for each tree to absorb the CO2 which was released while producing each planter. He also argues that no other environmental benefits were considered in the design, as trees' location weren't even informed by sun, wind, or climate, but by an arbitrary structural grid. Besides all of that, it is still unclear if the public has actually got access to the rooftops for free, or it is accessible for a few with the price of an expensive cocktail in a fancy restaurant up there. Now we can see green design and sustainable architecture are not definitely as simple as planting a tree or producing renders with overgrowing plants. Sustainable design is also not rocket science, and in fact it is very achievable. But in order to do that, it seems that we as architects need to do a few things. First, to be always educating ourselves about sustainable design and strategies around that. We have to study plans, and there are many great precedents that we can look at in order to learn what can be done successfully, and there are also many failed projects that we can use as case studies for the strategies that didn't work. Secondly, we always need to be out there consulting with experts in order to get things right as possible and have a realistic anticipation for our projects. And finally, we should leverage technology in helping us to become more sustainable. I will make a video about how blockchain technology can help us to calculate and track the true carbon footprint of our materials and therefore the whole project in a very transparent and reliable system. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you've learned something from the topics that were discussed, and I will put the link for some of the articles which helped me make this video down in the description. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are interested in similar topics around architecture and design, and also feel free to comment below about anything that helps you to avoid falling into the greenwashing trap. I hope you have a great rest of the day and see you in the next video.